get all this out the box and go through it and see exactly what we have in here. So this is actually one of the new products. I'm not even too sure on anybody who actually has this yet installed. But it looks like they give you instructions with the foot-pounds, which is good. These look like maybe one of your shorter sets of bolts. Maybe they're all the same length. I think they probably should be all the same length. That's 3 of those. Look like some lube for your bolts. Your smaller bolts for the top of the head. Looks like it's a tap. That's nice. They send you a tap. And these are the nuts. We'll be opening all this here in a second. More nuts. They give you the socket for it too. It's 12.16 millimeter, which is nice. Allen to install the studs with, which is also nice. A socket for your 12.10 millimeter socket, which you know you always lose these things, for your studs that go on top, and some washers for your studs. That looks to be it. It looks like the box got destroyed in shipping. It's a big UPS thing. So I guess they probably look like they took the sticker, cut it out, put on the thing in the new box. So probably would recommend Spe Labs to make sure that they send this out in probably another box like this, because it didn't look like it did too well on the shipping the way over here. So first we do have to clean up some rust that kind of built up on the cylinders right here, and kind of scotch write it down. Don't do any kind of hard engravings, because this stuff you'll mess up the surface. So kind of like a little scotch brite on there, get some of those little rust spots off and blow it off, and then we could put the studs in and the head gaskets on. And then we got to also clean the surface of the heads too. Same thing, kind of take a razor blade to it. I'm gonna do a time lapse of all of this so you kind of get a general idea of what I'm talking about and what exactly to do, so you don't mess up that surface as well. Alright, so we got the block cleaned up, we got the heads cleaned up too. This one still got to blow off and kind of break one a little bit, get some of the dust off of it. This one I already did, so this one's ready to be slapped on. But first we have to throw the studs on, and I'm going to go down on the instructions of exactly how to do that. And we got to throw the head gaskets on as well. So before we get into installing these studs, who's interested in one of my hats? It's a Richardson style 112 hat, and I think it looked pretty dang sick. They came out really good. Came out better than what I imagined when I kind of created the idea. Has the little bamboo style like logo on it, and I got this in black and gray, but gray is my favorite. It matches almost anything I wear it with, and it just looks good. Now I only have a couple of these hats in stock, but I can get more made in pretty much any color you wanted. So DM me on Instagram or maybe TikTok if you're interested in one of these hats. Maybe leave a comment and let's talk. But for now, let's get back into the video. So we're going to install these studs real quick with the lube, get them all hand tight into the block so we can go over and put the head gasket on and torque them. So I'm going to leave it. Put on time lapse to speed things up a lot faster for that stud. So we got the studs installed and the head gaskets on. We use some of this lube they sent us to include on there to make sure none of these things get stuck in there for future times. They do send you a tap to make sure you clean every hole. We did that beforehand off camera to get it ready. So this is a 5mm Allen for the ones who want to use a socket like I did. So the handy dandy tool that they sent right here, because they take forever. So I use a socket and a ratchet, kind of zip them all in, tighten them down snug, and do the head gasket on. So also there's a certain direction that the head gaskets go on to as well. So this, you can see is the right side. Right side is the passenger side if you're looking at the engine like this sitting in the truck, and the left side is your driver's side. I marked the D to remind myself. And also there's a top and the bottom, and this side says up, which usually they'll come like that. So the part numbers for left and right side are 126-377-85 for the left, 126-377-8 for the right. So here are the instructions. I wrote down a tensile strength. So they claim that these head studs actually can hold up to 232,000 PSI, which ARP I think is 220 if I'm not mistaken, which is insane. So how they got that number, I'm not too sure. I don't know if they actually tested it or what. Comes to find out there's only one review on these, so I'll be the second guy testing these out. But I do not think anyone on YouTube has tried these yet, so I guess we're the first. Anyway, let's get this head on the engine so we can torque it down and see exactly how it handles the torque. Fingers crossed that nothing breaks. Even if you don't pay attention when you throw head gaskets and head studs and stuff on, you can usually tell if you have head gaskets on right by the passenger side having an R, and it has a little plate back here. And when you're on the driver's side, the L left would be on the back side, and that little plate would be up here. Washers seem to fit pretty good. Usually a lot of times cheaper stuff would have issues, but I'm actually very impressed with the quality of these head studs, being that they're like first generation new style product by someone that we are starting to get very familiar with. I don't know if you knew this, but washers actually do have a certain side that they go on. It's more like a bevel side and a flat side. I usually put everything on the flat side and then bevel towards up like that. So all the washers are on. We're gonna put the lube on all of the threads and then start threading down all the 12-point bolts. Put it on the bolts before we thread. Make it a lot easier on us. That way it also lubes up the back side too. So it's not biting against that washer. Alright, we're gonna start off by hand tightening everything in a sequence just to get it snug, and then we'll go over it with the torque specs it needs to. So first, Alright, now we're going to set a torque wrench to 125 at M12, 125 foot-pound, and go back over to the sequence. So a 1/2 inch torque wrench is obviously needed for this, unless you have a 3/8 that goes up to that big, but good luck. Alright, so let's see if you can see this. We're at 120 right here. You see that 0 and that 120, that line going down, it means 120. Go up to 5. You don't know how to use a torque wrench like this. That's 125. So it did 1, 2, double click to make sure it's actually torqued. So we went ahead and slapped the other head on too. Got all that torqued and tightened down. Now we're going to finish this side up. So I didn't go over the top bolts with y'all, but it's just 25 foot-pounds. And they're just single bolts. They're not like studs. I went ahead and threw all the push rods in. Now we're about to throw the rockers on. These are going to be torqued to 30 foot-pounds in the sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be careful not to drop your little shims in there. You got to get under the injector wires too. Probably best to take the bolts out. First, going to start it with a ratchet, get it all tightened down. Because you got to see the valves. It's going to have a little tension on it. This thing is starting to come together. We got the head studs on, the heads on, the rockers all torqued down and on. Now all we gotta do is put the valve covers on. We gotta install the injector seals for the outside of the valve cover. Pretty much put the fuel system on after that, and then the turbo, and she's pretty much ready to drop in the truck. Also still gotta take apart the water pump situation and this cooler housing right here due to the screwdriver stuck in there. All right, so we got the first set of the valve covers on, and I wanted to mention that it takes the longer bolts. You'll see a difference when you pull them off. They got longer ones than this. These go for the top valve cover. The long ones go here, the short ones go on the top. And the first set of valve covers takes a rubber gasket. The second set is RTV, so we're gonna use some ultra black, oil resistant RTV for the top, and we're gonna put a little bit extra right here where the injector wires go, just so it makes sure it don't leak. So first things first is we'll put a little bit on here, put a little bit on here, and we'll bolt down the injector wire like this and do that all the way around. All right, so we're going to install these injector line seals, I guess you can call them. We're going to do a little bit of flange sealant in these little holes. And we got a 15, 16, or 24 millimeter socket, which then fits perfect over the lip, because you want to hit this out of the lip. You never want to go inside, and also fits pretty good in here too. So it'd be perfect to install it with our little mini hammer. So first we're going to do some flange sealant, Loctite. In here to make sure it gets a pretty good seal, and it stays in, not much, just a little rub to wet the surface. Do that to all four. You don't necessarily have to do this, or you can do it with a little bit of RTV if you wanted. I just like to make sure it ain't gonna fall out or leak. Seal. On this little bevel side, this little like dome looking thing goes down just like this. The seal always has a lip going whatever it's sealing, so remember that. So this lip, usually there's a spring here or something like that to keep it tight, is sealing oil from coming out. It's not really much of a dust seal. Now we got our injector seals installed. We're gonna throw some RTV around this lip right here, in this little groove, and a little bit on here as well. And we'll slap the valve cover on, and then it'll be on to installing all the injector lines. So first things first, we're gonna grease up the seals so that the injector lines will go straight in. Trying to lift them seals when you're going in with them, because it's not gonna be too fun. Got a little thing of grease right here. Just rub it around in there. And we got our injector lines. Push them in. Try to be more careful because I'm getting into all this. Should start pretty easily. Kind of fell into place. I got a little resistance from the seal compared to where it needs to seal at. because you got a little lip on that line, and it's not sealing on that line, it seals above it. So you kind of got to put pressure to screw it in. It's going to be a 3/4 wrench or 19. Tighten them all up like so. Not to taper it in, so kind of get them good snug. That should be fine. Just like that. Got all the lines tight. Now it's time to slap the turbo on and try to get all the fuel lines hooked all back up. Turbo installed exactly how we want it. Next would probably be slapping on the up pipes, the down pipe, and the Y bridge with the rest of the fuel rail lines, them little things right there. And then I'll probably be doing a water pump video next, so stay up to date for that. Up pipes and the down pipe installed on the back of the LB7. Make sure you put FCs on all these bolts because future reference, I mean, they are gremlins to get off. This Y bridge slapped on here. First we gotta clean it up a little bit, get these O-rings off, put the O-rings on there, and then we'll get it installed. The Y bridge on, put the new O-rings in there as well, cap it off with this rag so that it gets down in there and ruins our engine. And now we're going to figure out how this fuel rail soak goes, because I kind of forgot. I guess we'll figure it out together. all the fuel rails on. I didn't hook up none of the soft lines because I'm gonna go to AutoZone and get a couple of these matched up and replaced. You can see how this one's ripped. And these things are probably definitely old and brittle. I'm sure they'll be collapsing here soon. Other than that, all the hard lines are on and where they should be. All these are going together and it was coming apart because I was confused on how I was gonna exactly get this thing apart when I first initially started taking it apart. It's gonna be a wrap for this video of the assembly. We're gonna be dropping this video and then we're gonna be doing the water pump video separate. I was placing the water pump and I found some goodies in here. Let's see if we can turn the light on. It's probably hard to see, but that's a snap-on screwdriver in there. Focus. All broken up. We got to take apart the cooler and all that, which that'll be in the water pump video too. If you want to see how to replace the water pump in this thing, make sure to check that out next. That'll be dropped a lot quicker than this one. This one's a lot longer video, longer time to edit, longer time for assembly, plus all the other stuff going on. I want to give a huge shout out to whoever sent me this water pump. It is truly a blessing to see that people do good out there and really unexpected. Like I wasn't expecting to receive this. It come from Dirty Hooker Diesel, GHD. Go check them out. They're freaking great. I love their parts. I mean, whoever sent me this, I really appreciate it. There's really no info on the paperwork here. That got pretty much all my information on there, minus the email and card number. That's how I knew I didn't accidentally order it for some reason. But I'd love for this person to reach out, let me know. Great to see that people are kind nowadays still. Huge shout out to Spe Labs for throwing these studs at me to put on this thing. They're really high quality studs, I can't lie. I love them. I love the way they look. To make the engine look a lot nicer. I know it looks like crap, but it's kind of hard to work with when it's all corroded and stuff like that. More of the parts and see how they do on this particular LB7. So be sure to check all those out.